This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, the entire state of Arkansas, I guess. We'll go there. This is Alex, co-host. Liberty Underground, along with me, is the Duchess of Doing Stuff, my own personal Wikipedia, Danielle Alexandra. Danielle, how are you doing?
I'm a little tired this morning,
I can understand that.
But doing well. But yeah, just tired, trying to find news that, things that we can talk about that don't include who got married or divorced in Hollywood or the GOP presidential debate.
Good luck with that.
That's a struggle.
That's a little
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
It's a struggle. Also in the studio is the Prime Minister of the Sinister, Greg Bowen. Greg, how you doing, sir?
Spectacular.
Nice. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. I was going to think you're a little bit tired as well, but I guess that's you're working past it, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. I don't think I'm any more tired than I normally would be on a Friday, just less awake because I didn't wake up over an hour ago. Normally I would have.
Well, yeah, and I kept, because we had the debate, go late last night, and we were on late and everything. So Greg ended up staying here, and in the morning, I was like, I don't know if I should wake him. Should I just let him sleep? Like, I'm getting Mikey ready for school to go to camp and stuff, and I'm like, shh. And I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe you can talk. Maybe he should be awake by now. I don't know what to do
here. There you go.
There you go.
Just so you know, in the future, if that happens, let him talk. If he can wake me up out of a dead sleep, I should probably wake up.
Yeah.
My wife has vacuumed in the bedroom while I'm sleeping and not woke me up. So
that's a good time.
Alex is also a very deep sleeper like that. Like, there was at one point, sometimes you have the thunder that's so loud it shakes the house, and and that will go off. And at one point it was sunny out, and something boomed that shook the whole house, and I ran in and I'm like, Alex, did you hear that? Is it, what's going on? And he's like, I don't know, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, you're useless in these situations.
Sorry to hear that.
I have no idea. I don't even remember that. I was so sleeping.
Yeah, he's not awake either.
So, a lot going on. I guess we'll start with final thoughts or thoughts on the debate last night. In case anybody doesn't know, there was a debate for president last night on the Republican side, and you had 10 guys in the beginning, and I think 7 guys in the JV team and 10 guys in the varsity team have a debate. Looks like overall, I guess who do you think won?
It's difficult to pick a winner. It certainly wasn't the American people.
It was a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
I would have to say I think Jeb Bush had the least amount of bad sound bites. And also Scott Walker, in a lot of ways, appeared to be the adult in the room. So I would have to put them up towards the top of the bottom because I think everybody actually did pretty horribly. I think they all sounded really badly. But I think the ones that you could take away and not have the worst sound bites from are I think Jeb Bush kind of stayed out of the fray, kind of kept things positive and made his point, trying to make it in a positive way. Which was better than some of the others. And I think Scott Walker, a lot of times when the fighting was going on, and he would kind of be like, we're missing the point here. So I think that I think that made him look like the adult in the room, although I don't think he debated well. But I think because of all the fighting going on, he actually did all right.
I got you. Greg, who do you think won?
I think it was probably Jeb that won. Like we said before the debate, both Danielle and I kind of predicted he would win just simply by not making the most mistakes, keeping his foot out of his mouth, whereas the other guys probably would, and that's kind of how it turned out. I don't necessarily think anyone really was shining bright as somebody to say, wow, I'm impressed. I hadn't heard that from him before or anything like that, because they've all pretty much said the same things they normally say. Donald Trump was absurd as usual and boisterous and, grabbing attention at every chance he got. Rand Paul was riding on his coattails and taking every attempt at, getting a little bit of the wind back from the windbag.
Going after him.
So, I guess it would have to be Jeb Bush. I was kind of impressed with the crowd's response to Jeb defending Common Core. The crowd didn't really seem to like Common Core because he got booed when he stood up for Common Core, which I kind of liked. I was happy with the crowd on that. Apparently, it's not going well in Ohio either.
Probably Bush did the least amount of damage. I go with that. Now, the Drudge Report had a poll, and 443,741 people did vote in that poll. And you want to go right?
He's calling.
We're calling right now. Well, on the line with us too, though. Let's get him added into the conversation. Is Brandon Jones? Brandon, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm very blessed. Kind of unexpectedly traveling this morning. You may hear my grandson chilling off in the background there, but thought I'd call, make sure I was able to contribute since I missed out on last night's special broadcast on your birthday.
I'm sorry that you missed out, by the way. But I'm glad that you were that you're alive and that you are able to contribute right now. So, did you watch the debate?
I've watched a lot of it. I don't know that I've seen every minute of it. I'm not sure it's healthy to even watch that much politics in a row.
That's true. It's a good point, by the way. Who did you think overall won that debate, by the way?
I'm not sure there is a single winner. I think that we can take it in two chunks. I mean, I think the first part, the undercard section, I think that Rick Perry and Rick Santorum are pretty much toast. I mean, I think either both of them just failed just miserably, and Carly Fiorina really separated herself from that group. And then in the main thing, of the 10 of them, I think the biggest thing was how much Donald Trump fell apart. I mean, this is something that I think I brought up many times. Is he doesn't ever offer solutions, hasn't offered many plans, even though he's striking an emotional chord with people who are frustrated over the different issues. But when you have something like this that is very specific and poignant, that he wasn't able to stay on task, he wasn't able to offer solutions, and if he, of course, Donald, he become very testy. He, he kind of bantered back at Megyn Kelly at one point, and that wasn't well received. He, it really started off the bat. He raised his hand and said, I'm not necessarily going to support any of these guys if I don't win. And, he really separated himself in a negative way from what the Republican Party would be looking for. I think other than that, I mean, I don't understand some of the hoopla over John Kasich. He was one that a lot of them came away with his big positive impression. I found it very bland and boring. Same thing I felt about Marco Rubio. Everybody's like, he did so great, He seemed like a child up there at times. He had this triple and double blink thing going on at different times when he answered questions, and he really spoke with just talking points and not a lot of solutions. And I contrast that with someone like Cruz. I thought had a great first half of the debate before Fox sort of kind of ignored him. I think that Huckabee actually, really appealed to voters and really surprised people. His experience at doing this really came through, that he was very concise and was able to communicate things, even if they're just kind of talking points. I think that was real. I mean, Jeb looked like his dad. It was very strange, by the way. My wife pointed out, so when did he stop dyeing his hair?
Going for the grays already. Some people were impressed by Chris Christie, and I just thought he was kind of the bully. Chris Christie has always gotten away with not saying anything in a strong fashion, and people think he knows what he's doing. And I don't understand that. He really would never come back with things that make a lot of sense. It's hard, so it's not like he can really strike a lot of numbers the way Walker and even Bush tried to do. So for Christie, I don't understand why with some of the people that came up with a positive impression. I thought it was awful. And his exchange with Rand Paul, over the Fourth Amendment and it really just shows this guy's just an authoritarian that'll do whatever he thinks and whatever he's told to do. So for me, that was a big
negative, but I'm not sure that's the impression that some people got. They didn't take that as much of a negative as I thought they should have.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I found to be a little bit funny, or by the way, let me get back to this part. Now, there's a poll on the Drudge Report. 447,005 people have now voted in this poll. Who do you think that this poll says won?
The Drudge Reports?
Yeah.
It seems like most online polls are saying Donald won, but it's possible that one's a little different. I'm going to go a little off the wall here and say Ted Cruz.
All right.
I can see the poll, so that's not fair.
You don't get to answer that. We'll ask Brandon. Brandon, who do you think that on Drudge says that won the debate?
A Drudge poll? Wow, that's not an objective pool of people.
No.
They probably went with Bush.
All right. Well, let's just go down here. Actually, for the Drudge poll report, Trump won 47%. So 210,000 people clicked on it for Trump. Second place, Cruz with 13%. Third was Carson with 8%. Third was Rubio with 9%. Carson with 8%. And then it goes downhill from there pretty much. I mean, it's Paul and then Kasich and then Walker. Christie actually lost that poll. A couple things I really think are starting to be telling, though, in this. Here's one of them. Trump talked about how he bought and paid for politicians. Mm-hmm. Now, I will give it to the Fox moderators for that part, is that they went after, they ball busted. I think they were a little bit protectionist, but overall they ball busted, and they were ball busted on Trump. And they threw out everything at Trump that they knew to throw out at Trump. And he talked about how he bought and paid for politicians. And when questioned on it, especially the Hillary one, well, she went to my wedding. Like, that's so much BS, it's not even funny. Yeah. And he knows it's BS. Now, here's the part that I don't understand. They talk about on TV now a lot about the cronyism and how politicians are bought and paid for. And somehow Trump is not getting, if he was a politician that would have admitted that he's taken bribes and done what the guy took the bribe, told him to do, he'd be killed for it. The fact that he's paying the people and they're doing what he wants somehow gives him a pass with some people, including Hannity and stuff like this. I don't understand how much of a tool Hannity is that he gets him there and explains this whole thing as a positive for him.
Well, I mean, for me, I don't understand how Trump's getting a pass on a lot of things. I mean, whenever you are just kind of, basically he was having one segment after another where he was just saying the same thing on a different issue. I'm frustrated with this. This is that. This is awful. Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, Obama, and that's it. We move on. And he's not offering any solutions. So for 47%, you said 47% thought he won this thing?
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it either, man. It's just the weirdest thing.
I thought he did so poorly. I thought that his answers were never about the question. Were very combative. At 2 points during the debate, he actually almost made a threat to Megyn Kelly. I'll look at you, and I could not be very nice to you, which I think is so. It's not even respectful of the position that you're running for. So I thought that he came off so poorly, so badly. He called, we can't do anything right. There's a bunch of idiots. I mean, it's not even how a normal person should speak in a professional setting. To hear him do that as he's running for president and for him to be, he won the debate, I think is just, I don't even know what that says about society.
It's got electrolytes.
Oh, yeah, we're there. We're there on that one. Yeah, look.
Maybe people are just chiming in just to continue the sideshow circus. They're really seriously just, you know what, I hate politicians and the politics so much. If we keep Trump in it, at least it's entertaining.
And that could be it.
That could be. You know what, that's a possibility. I do think another possibility is, let's see if I can say this the right way. I think that people are so angry with politicians right now that somebody that's willing to do what Trump's willing to do is something people want to see. Like they want to see somebody go up there and just say whatever they want to say and just go after it like Trump goes after it. And I think people people really like it. I think that they don't like, the normal politician. I think that that's repellent, and that Trump is able to have this unique ability that only he has of being like the biggest salesman and the biggest douche at the same time. Like he has this unbelievable gift of being able to just be a jerk up there, but somehow people love him, and maybe people are so pissed off at what goes on in politics right now that maybe this guy is like, you know what, man? Maybe the country's like, screw it. Let Trump try.
Well, and I think that I want to see someone. I think that, we're at a point where I definitely want to see someone that's aggressive. Aggressive as wanting to fix things, but I think he came off as ridiculous, not aggressive. And the same thing with Rand Paul. Rand Paul could have come off very strong but aggressive, and I want to fix things. But I think he came off combative, not aggressive with solutions. So I honestly think out of everyone, those two would have been at the bottom of the pack for me as far as debate performance.
Well, and I think Rand's taking the hit for it, but I mean, I don't think Trump. Not only do I not think Trump is taking the hit for it, I'll predict that I think Trump will actually go up in the polls, not down in the polls.
So sad.
Yeah. I don't want it. It's not like I'm asking for this, but I got to tell you, it just seems like that's what every time this guy does something, he's able to do good out of it, man. I don't understand it myself, but it is what it is.
If any other politician said and did the things he said and does, they would be out by now. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, people are getting behind him when he does it. It's just a weird world that we live in.
Yeah.
Well, you know how we excuse away behavior of an obnoxious person or an obnoxious child? And we heard even moderators and commentators doing this in sort of the post-debate shows where, well, that's just Donald, that's just Trump. And that's just such an unacceptable response, especially when you're talking about the most powerful position in the world, someone who's going to have the power and authority that they'll have to excuse away the behavior in a debate setting. It's one thing when he's on the stump speeches and he's just trying to, rile the masses and do whatever, but he was just not competitive compared to some of the other people on stage. And all he's doing at this point is being a distraction and keeping away from the more viable candidates in that arena. So, I really am I'm still kind of reeling from the 47%. I'm like, holy cow.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shock you like that, Brandon. I apologize. Now, one thing a couple other things to take away from this before we move on. The fact that Rand was so willing to make his, announcement for the love of the GOP. Maybe the love of the GOP is too strong of a word, but maybe that his pronouncement that's so loud that whoever the Republican nominee is, he is going to support, was very, we knew it anyway. We all knew that this is what he wanted to do anyway, so it's not like it's that much of a shock, but to just be that upfront about it, almost like to try to tag Trump with it, was just kind of I don't know, man. It felt so wrong.
Well, I don't know that you really have a really kind of a plan here if you don't do it that way. Try to appeal to the masses. You're trying to appeal to a very broad base, especially on something massive as this debate scale. That's a very double-edged sword to fall on if you're going to say, well, I'm going to raise my hand. Trump doesn't care. So for him, Fox even admitted they had backup questions or whatever for Trump, depending on how that played out. But if anyone else did that, it ruined their career, not only for this campaign, but to get reelected into whatever position that they have or are striving to be.
Yeah. And
I think I would have been okay with Rand not raising his hand. But I think the fact that he called out Donald Trump, like, how dare you not be a good little Republican, I think went a step further. That made whatever shred of respect that I had for Rand was completely gone in that moment. Because, it's one thing to not raise your hand because you know that would be career ending. But it's another thing to call out someone else and basically say, how dare you not fall in line with the GOP?
Yeah, I think you could have asked a question of Trump. So I'd really like to ask Mr. Trump if he could elaborate more or if he would actually designate what he doesn't feel like he would be able to support and why.
Right. That would have been a much better way to counter Trump, get yourself some airtime without kind of just being this, don't you hear what he's saying? He's not going to fall in line with everyone else like we're all supposed to.
Yeah, I'm falling in line. Why can't you fall in line?
Yeah, so I thought that there was a better way to handle the situation.
The stumping for Hillary Clinton line, though. I thought that was a pretty good buzzword that his people did a good job writing for him.
Yeah, that's true. Now moving on, though. Let's move on here a little bit. Speaking of debates, is that one thing is the Democrats now do have debates that are set up. So they got 6 debates that are going to be set up. First one is going to be on October 13th in Nevada. And so now they have their debate schedule is already set up right now. Which one thing I will say is the fact that they didn't even they had to get pressured to really get this out.
Right.
And then when they got it out, they put 6 together, which I guess isn't horribly bad for a number. But boy, other than Hillary Clinton, the rest of that field is uber pissed that there's only 6 of the debates. They're very angry. And if you look at the record for 2008, they had how many did I tell you the other day?
Something 30-something.
Yeah, almost 30-something debates last time, or maybe 20-something debates. But they had a lot.
2008.
They had a lot of debates in the last one, and these guys are really, really pissed off. And I'm just curious. Look, there's probably I don't really think there's a big danger in the Democrat or in the Republican debates of somebody other than Bush winning. What do you think about where the Democrat debates are going to go, Brandon?
Well, it really just shows how the DNC has all of their chips in on the Hillary train here. And it's going to be very interesting to see if any of the other Democrat candidates, on O'Malley or any of them, will actually just start calling her out. I mean, what I would love to see, if I were on the campaign as a Democrat and I was actually running against Hillary in this situation, I would actually go, look, I'm a Democrat. I may not be the best Democrat. You may not love every issue that I have. But how are you going to run this candidate with the IRS scandal, the Benghazi scandal, this, and just list them off? She is unelectable. She is not going to be able to hold up against the scrutiny coming from the other side. You need another candidate that doesn't have that baggage, and I'm that candidate. And if we have a Democrat that does that, they will skyrocket to the top because Elizabeth Warren's not there. And that's what those Democrats want. They will bail on her in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I almost think that, every Democrat is kind of waiting for, okay, there's got to be someone better than Hillary. And I think Bernie Sanders, while a lot, especially the youth in that party, will be behind Bernie, I don't think he has that wide, it's it's just crazy Uncle Bernie, that guy's always doing crazy things like running for president. I don't think they take him seriously enough, and I think it's almost like the whole Democrat Party's kind of holding their breath, waiting for, this better candidate to come along and join them. So, nobody seems to be real excited about, let's go with Hillary, but they just, it's almost like I have no better option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is definitely the consensus. And if you talk to any Democrats, and definitely the more loyal or the more socialist they are, while they'll respect Bernie Sanders, and many of them will say about some of the different things they like of Bernie Sanders, they know in the back of the mind you can't run a socialist in 2015. Maybe you can run him in 2025, but not right now. And I don't know, maybe Bernie will resort to this. Maybe Bernie will call her out on some of these things. But that is actually the only thing. And to have only 6 debates scheduled, and again, more importantly than the 6 that you brought up, notice the date. They don't even start till October.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You're talking about another 2 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's pretty obvious what the Democrats are, what the is doing. And again, this is one of those things where they're not messing up everybody else. This is their own base they're screwing with. And, I don't know if their own base is necessarily really happy with them right now. And, here's where it comes out. It's not like people are just going to necessarily leave the Dems and join the Republicans or anything like that. But this is where the enthusiasm part is a killer, and they're going to need all the enthusiasm they can get. Because right now, they really have a very much a lack of enthusiasm. And I don't think that Clinton's going to help that out at all. I just don't think she is. I really think that you're going to see the numbers for the presidential election for the Democrats go down. not go up.
Yeah, I think unless there's, there's going to be some states across the country that are going to have kind of ballot initiatives that are very lefty issues. And I think in those states, you're going to see the base come out only because they're coming out for another reason, not her. But I think any of these states that aren't doing something with, cannabis or, some environmental issue, you're going to see the numbers for Democrats coming out just kind of plummet because it's like, I don't really care if she wins or not. It's lackluster.
Probably needs to be.
I will add the caveat though. Unless she's running against Bush first, they will come out in droves to make sure that there will not be another Bush in office, or someone they completely despise, like a Ted Cruz.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's enough. Maybe Trump could do
There's
that.
actually, I've never seen this before. I spoke to he's a very far leftist. He actually had hatred in his eyes when I mentioned Ted Cruz. But I went down the list of names. They'll kind of roll a little bit on Chris Christie. They'll be like, yeah, I could live with Chris Christie. They can live with some of them. But when you get to Cruz and Jeb Bush, there's an anger and a hatred that's there. There's an anti-vote that would turn out.
All right.
And that could be some, yeah.
I still think Bush wins this thing overall, but I can understand what you're saying right there, though. And all these guys are pissed off at these primaries, though. They're all mad about it, though, and I'm wondering how that's going to come into play, and if you're going to see some people really, what's the word for it? Really come out and kind of be a little more aggressive about trying to get, call these guys out for not doing these debates. I'm just curious on if, because that's another opportunity for one of those candidates to really come out there.
I think my connection's dropping off, guys. I'm probably going to have to bail out on you.
Oh, okay. All right, man. Well, hey, his name is Brandon with theGlobalDispatch.com. We'll see you next week, Brandon. Have a good day. Well, hang up. It's always nice talking to Brandon.
Talk hard.
All right. Well, that's cool that he called early, though.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice because we can get into this part with him, so we were able to do that.
Yeah, that's because we didn't get to hear from him last night.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just curious to see if the what the Dems are going to do. It's an opportunity for one of them.
I think because they're so lackluster about their own field, it's like, why have more than 6?
Yeah.
And I think that is what's going on. It's like, well, I mean, Hillary is far ahead of everybody else. That the only one that's even close is Bernie Sanders, and he's not even close. I mean, like, the polls have him so far behind, he'd have to, it's not even making up double digits. He's making up, 30 points, 40 points. So it's kind of one of those, there's so much gap between her and anybody else that it's like, I have more than 6. I think it's just lackluster, and I think that's why there's only 6 of them.
And I think part of it is that Hillary's the anointed one. I mean, she has been since she stepped aside to let Obama step up. And I think we all know that. We've talked about it before. I mean, it's pretty clear that was the case. I think that's part of why we haven't seen anybody step up. I think the people from the establishment Democrats know that it's Hillary's turn. It's her turn. So no one's going to step up against her. But you've got guys like Bernie, and there's probably other people within the field that are going to step up and challenge her, or just to make it a competition, just to make it a real primary. But I really think that Hillary's going to be the one, and there's really no need for any more than that as far as the debates go.
Yeah, I can even understand why it was very kind of, we only need 6. So, I think if you see someone like Biden jump in, you may actually see some more debates in the mix. Although, when you see someone like Biden go in, you have that entertainment factor where I think I think that he's the only one that could really beat Hillary in a primary. But the party itself will pull back from wanting to do debates because you never know what Biden's going to say.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm done with this. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Richter there's a one, Santorum, who's just the funniest guy in the world. Not because he wants to be, though. But there's a picture here that Richter found of Santorum. Like he's given this.
No,
symbol.
I posted that last night.
Oh, did you post that? I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I didn't see that from you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. That's not my. My apologies. But all right. What else is going on out
Now,
there?
Trump goes after Megyn Kelly on Twitter last night.
Did he?
Oh, last night on Twitter?
So after the debate on Twitter, Trump just goes. Now, a lot of these are retweets from his own fans. But, I mean, calls her a bimbo. It says that she was a disaster, that she, that she bombed, that she was the loser of the debate. And then he goes on to, I won in every poll. And, he really just goes after her last night on Twitter.
There was a winner in last night's debate. It was Megyn Kelly because she showed a lot of class in not getting up there and bitch slapping him when he totally deserved it.
Yeah, like I said, I think twice he was like, I could be mean to you. I could come after you. I could stop giving, I could stop giving you interviews. You're one of them. And it was so combative towards her and not anyone else on the panel. And just towards her, it came off very kind of misogynist. It came off to me very poorly. And for him to then use his Twitter page at night to just, I'm looking at 12 tweets here that are just about Megyn Kelly that he either retweeted or did himself. That's ridiculous.
He for all his money and all his power, he is just such a low-class punk.
Yeah.
And I am just sick of people supporting him. And I'm getting so mad right now because no one would accept that behavior out of any other GOP candidate. No one would accept that behavior out of any of the Democrat candidates. But for some reason, he gets a pass. And it makes me feel like we are living in idiocracy. We really have gotten that dumb and that pathetic and just that careless about our own government and our own world that we would allow this man to make a mockery of this process and embarrass us all. He is an embarrassment to our country. Everybody outside of this country who is seeing this happen is pointing and laughing, and rightfully so. We should all rise up against Donald Trump and say, we don't want you in our political process in any way, shape, or form. Go be the circus sideshow that you are on your reality show and leave our political process alone.
Yeah. It says here, because I'm reading this from the Washington Post, and they kind of posted like 12 of them. But in all, Trump tweeted or retweeted 30 times between 2:30 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. that mentioned Megyn Kelly or one of the debate co-hosts.
Wow. Look, and what Greg's just saying right there is absolutely right. This guy is an embarrassment.
Yeah.
He's a punk with a lot of money. Also, when it comes to things like eminent domain, he has been more than willing to try to take people's land to try to build a parking lot for his damn casinos. The fact that people don't have a problem with that is really kind of disgusting and sad. And the thing is that Trump never does really answer any questions either. He never does. He just will give, well, you're just a porch. He'll just make fun of the person, dismiss it, and then move on. And if that is something that is going to be celebrated and is going to be rewarded, then the politics that we're going to have moving forward, not really going to be worth dealing with it anymore. It's sad that we're going down the fascism route as quickly as we're going, and Obama took us a lot of the ways there, but did it in with a different kind of attitude. Trump is going to go there with the Trump attitude, but still we're going down the fascism route, and Trump will be leading us there. And make no mistake about it, Trump is going to start a trade war. He's already said it. Trump's going to start a war with Mexico. Already said it. He's going to start a war with Iran. Already said it. A war with Russia. Already said it. Again, if this guy wants to back all the crap that he's trying to do, then, go with it. The other thing is this, and there are some people I'll totally give a pass to when it comes to Trump. They don't know no better. Like, you just don't know no better. There's a lot of people supporting Trump that should know better.
Yeah.
That I personally will never have a relationship with again, because if you haven't gotten it after this many, you will never get it. You're an idiot. You're a moron. You deserve to be with Trump. Stay with him. Have a good time with him. I want nothing to do with you. You're a dumbass. if that's what you're going to think. And I've heard a lot of them. Well, he just does a great job, and he's shaking things up. And it's almost like they try to give an excuse. Well, he's really shaking things up, and that's why I support him. No, that's not why you support him. You support him because you're a moron.
Mm-hmm. Or racist.
I don't know at this point, and I don't care, but I don't want anything to do with you. I mean, it's just, it is pathetic that we're even having to deal with this. And it's also, again, this is another one of these things where I think we have a lot of people with the mentality of, well, I'm going to pick the winner. And now Trump's the winner, so I'm going to go with Trump. And I don't really care what he says. Like, have a good time with it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do with this guy, man. He knows. The funny part about it is he knows nothing when it comes to the office that he's running for. He's a great CEO. He knows how to get government money for people. He knows how to pay off politicians. He says it over and over and over again. He was good at it. He knew how to get favors. He said that's how businesses run. Is that the kind of person you want to be in charge? Again, if the problem is corporatism, if that's the problem, I don't want the guys from either side of the equation for corporatism. So I don't want the politicians that were being paid off, and I don't want the guy that was paying them off. And I'm not lying or I'm not making something up. He admitted it on stage last night. He paid off politicians. They did whatever he wanted to do. I can't make it any clearer than that. If you're willing to accept that, then you know what? If you're willing to accept that, you're not patriotic. You're not an American. You're a crony capitalist scumbag piece of crap, just like the crappy hair guy that you're following. And you know what? You can have it. And if you don't like me anymore or don't like what I do anymore, then that's perfectly fine with me. I don't give a shit. That's what I give you. I'm so sick of you people. Understand what you're doing. Understand the position that the guy's running for. Have some goddamn respect for this country. Because you have zero if this is your guy. Sorry.
You're absolutely right. I agree with everything you just said.
I definitely wouldn't have said it that way.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But do you agree with the sentiment?
The sentiment, maybe not what was said.
Shit. You know what, man? What are we doing? Yeah, what are we doing? Is this what we're about then? Is this what we're about? A blowhard goes on stage, answers zero questions, admit he pays off politicians, and all of a sudden that's... And
insults the moderators.
Yeah, and insulted America at that point. And that's okay, though, because he speaks the truth. He tells it like it is,
Well, I don't even think that really is. The thing is he makes up a reality and then tries to sell that as fact.
Yeah. Well, I went to the border and I talked to people down there on the border, so I know exactly.
And they call everybody stupid. So I believe that everybody's stupid. I mean, the thing is that the fact that he's even in a primetime debate when the field was so big that they had to split it up into two. And he's so ridiculous. This isn't even, he's speaking the truth. No, he's fabricated a reality that he's now talking about that you have also fabricated in your own mind. And so now are jumping onto this ridiculous bandwagon that is not only disrespectful to the whole process, but disrespectful to the office of the president and to everybody else that's in the country, because you would even prop this guy up to even be remotely someone that we could have as a contender for president. He has no substance. When he's asked a question, he comes on the attack. He has said absolutely horrid things about just about anyone he's ever worked with. He does it publicly through social media. I think the questions that were asked of him were absolutely valid because of his own behavior. If he didn't want to have those loaded questions, then it was then he shouldn't have had the behavior. But he had ridiculous, awful, horrible behavior in the past. He's done it publicly, and he was called out on it, and then went on the attack afterwards. And anyone who looks at that and says, "Well, that's just calling it out the way it is," then you have no idea what is actually going on in your country at all.
Yeah,
Donald Trump is the Kanye West of politics.
I don't know if I'd want to insult Kanye West at this point like that. You know, I wasn't as mad about it until we really started talking about it today. I'm just really angry right now. I really am angry. I can't believe that this is going on right now.
I'm with you. And quite frankly, if this is where we're going, this is the direction the country is heading, whether Donald wins or not, but we continue going down this path the way we are, this show's probably going to be coming to you from Uruguay in 5 or 6 years.
Well, yeah, because it's a joke.
Well,
I mean,
also because we won't be allowed to do it here. But
it's a joke. And I'm sorry, but everybody who's all like, oh, well, Rand Paul's the savior. He went down to Trump's level in a lot of these back and forths. He didn't be the bigger man. He didn't say, wait a minute, Donald, you're saying things that are way off the what, are just disrespectful to the office you're running for. And coming up and being the adult in the room, he lowered himself to Trump's level. And he was the only one on the stage that did that.
Got down in the mud with that pig.
Maybe, just maybe, and I hate to say this, man. And it's a sad state of affairs, but look, man, maybe this is what America wants. This is what you want. You want fascism that has bravado with it.
Yeah.
You want fascism that has bravado with it. If that's what you want, then go ahead. But,
you brought up Rand Paul, and this is something I just am compelled to say here, because a lot of people, it happens all the time. They talk about Rand Paul being a libertarian. And people are saying it again last night. They're saying he's the most libertarian person on that stage, comparing him to libertarian. Let me help y'all out, because it seems like you guys are confused, and I can totally understand why. Rand Paul is not a libertarian. Rand Paul is actually what a Republican is supposed to be. If you look at the GOP platform and you see what they're about, I know most people don't read it and they don't compare their politicians to that, but if you read it and you see what it says, you'll realize that it's the other guys that aren't Republicans, and Rand Paul is. He's not a libertarian. He's what a Republican is supposed to sound like. And I can understand that since they're nearly an extinct species, that you don't recognize one when you see it. But that's what it is. That's what a Republican is supposed to be. So I'll give him credit in that he does actually say the things that a Republican should say, but he is not a libertarian. He is not one of us. He does not believe in the things that we believe in, and he's not going to do the things that we want done in office. So if you are a libertarian, you identify as a libertarian, then you should not be supporting Rand. You should not be identifying him as a libertarian. You need to identify him as a Republican, as he is, and as he does. That is there. He says he is not a libertarian. He is a Republican, and that's exactly why he's in that party. It's exactly why he was on that stage last night.
And it was exactly why he wanted to say right from the beginning, listen, this guy isn't falling in line with the GOP like a good little Republican like everybody else up here.
Yep.
I had so much hope for Rand Paul when he was running for Senate in Kentucky, because he really did sound very good. His first year up in the Senate, I actually, was a fan. I really thought he was doing good things. He has strayed so far from anything that would be libertarian. And the thing is, yes, he can say the Fourth Amendment. He can say we'll get a warrant. But then he'll go on to say, well, we have to... He says these things that don't mean anything. Well, I want to collect more information from terrorists. Okay. Do you have a plan for that doesn't infringe on my rights? Because you're not saying anything. Yeah, that sounds great. I would like more information on terrorists, true terrorists, ones that we can prove are terrorists. How do we do that? He says these very general things. I want to negotiate deals from a place of strength. What the hell does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It's a nice little code. It's a nice little buzzword. Look, you should always, again, the Art of the Deal or whatever he wrote, you should always want to negotiate from a position of strength, which means that you have the advantage over another country or over another person in a deal that you're working, that you
right.
have You have the advantage, and that's what it is. The problem with that is that you don't get to do that how deals work between either two companies or two individuals is not the same as two countries. You know why? Because you don't own the manufacturing base that you're talking about. You don't own the people here in America. You moron. You lack of understanding fascist punk. You don't own those.
You just called Rand Paul a fascist.
She was talking about Red.
Oh, well, you know what? Fascist punk? Then you should understand what I'm talking about.
But that's because that was...
Damn it.
That was Rand...
Because he got it from Trump.
Rand Paul said, we need to negotiate from a position of strength. And then, okay, that's a great starting point, buzzword, opening statement. Now, how do you do that? And he didn't say it. He said that statement 3 times in the 60 seconds that he had to answer the question. He never explained once what that meant as a country, a position of strength. Does that mean we'll bomb them into submission? That's a position of strength. Or do we just say pretty please? I mean, what is your line for position of strength?
I don't think pretty please is a position of strength, by the way. I may not know a lot, but I don't think that pretty please. Now, if you were to put a cherry on top, that would be a position of strength.
But that's what I thought Rand Paul had zero substance, and then what he did do was get very combative and kind of go down into the mud with Chris Christie and Donald Trump. I don't think it helped him. I think he said things that didn't mean anything. If he was going to elaborate on them, that would have been great, but I have no idea what a position of strength is. I mean, to me, that's, we're going to decimate every village in here, and then you're going to do what we say. That's a position of strength. It's wrong. Yeah. But you can't rule it out with what he said because he didn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, though.
And it's because it will expose him for the neocon warmonger that he truly is, for him to say, well, by position of strength, I mean, showing him that we got the missiles pointed at him right now.
Well, I think the other thing, he's placating to a base that doesn't want him.
Yeah.
And he may be a non-interventionist, and he may be all these things. That may be true. I would say that we don't know, so it could be the other way, too. Because he is playing a game right now. The problem is the game he's playing at, he sucks at.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Look, you can say that he's got tactics and he's going down a certain road and all this and that. He's playing a game that he is horrible at. I mean, he's bad. There's no getting around that. This ain't a tactical disagreement as much of an execution disagreement. Because this guy can't execute his plan for nothing. Nothing. And anybody that can't see that is just blind as a bat and unwilling to look at it, or so damn myopic for the last name Paul that you'll take anything. Mm-hmm. And that's sad. That's, again, I am more now than ever starting to understand why libertarians lose their minds. It's happening more now than it's ever happened before. I am totally understanding why libertarians end up being a cranky person behind a 10-foot wall that if anybody comes to talk to them, will yell at them. You know why? Because those people saw this stuff for the last 20 years, probably lost their mind about 10, 12 years ago, and got behind a wall. And when we come by and say, well, you should get involved, they go, piss off.
Yeah, you're mad at, do I need to pull out my rifle before you leave? I mean, and you can tell the libertarian on the block because you'll be on like a regular street and then be like, okay, we're looking for this number house. And like as soon as you pull down the street, it's like, oh, that's the one. It's the only one with the 10-foot fence in the front yard.
Yeah. Or when we did get to some houses, people were like, no, he left the country like a year ago.
The one lady wouldn't open the door. Remember that one where you had to talk to her through the door?
Yeah, I remember that one. Again, starting to understand a little bit more why. When we were walking those things, I'm like, why are these people like this? We're libertarians. They should love us. No.
We're one of them. No, they wouldn't even open.
No,
this lady's like,
afraid.
This lady wouldn't open the door, kept it locked all the way, and was like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, just leave the stuff there. That's what she said. Just leave. A couple people said that, by the way. One with a big fence out in the middle of nowhere said the same thing. Just leave the stuff there. I'm like, all right, thanks. Have a good day. Fuck off. Oh, sorry. So, all right, look, let's stop talking about the debate, by the way. It is getting me angry.
Yeah.
Well, one of the people on the debate stage that we haven't really talked about this morning was also at another event this week, and that was Marco Rubio. He was at Coke Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And basically what he said is that if we don't continue sugar subsidies, the terrorists will win.
Really?
He actually said this. He basically said that Brazil will decimate our agriculture, and that if Brazil, because if we don't subsidize sugar, if we don't subsidize agriculture, then Brazil will wipe out all of our agriculture, and when that happens, we won't have any farmers. We'll completely rely on all these foreign entities to provide us food, and then the terrorists will just knock out our food supply, and we will all starve to death. So if we don't continue agriculture and sugar subsidies, the terrorists will win.
Wow.
Come on.
Well, I mean, U.S. Sugar has paid him a lot of money. A lot.
This is what he said. This is the exact quote. And he's talking about Brazil and other countries if we end the sugar subsidies. He said, otherwise, these other countries will capture the market share. Our agricultural capacity will be developed into real estate, housing and so forth. And then we will lose the capacity to produce our own food, at which point we're at the mercy of a foreign country for our food security. And then he went on to say, and that will empower our enemies.
Well, I've heard a lot of weird excuses for why we should continue corporatism. That one takes the burrito. That really does take the burrito there. Rubio, it's, again, Matt Wright wrote an article this week, too, about how the Koch brothers are, for all their talk, they're basically funding the two-party system that they claim to be against.
To hate, right.
That they're funding it. And when you go on stage and you let this guy continue to come back to your events, it goes to show you that for all your corporatism rhetoric that you're like, wow, we need to get rid of that, you're just full of crap. You're just full of crap. Because if this is what this guy's saying and you're allowing him to go to your stage to talk about this, what else do you want? And weren't we actually giving money to the Brazilian sugar companies?
Well, in a way, we are.
For them to not produce. Basically, we're giving Brazil money so that they will not sell agricultural products here in the U.S. So we actually pay our own we subsidize our own agriculture so that they can actually sell it cheaper than the cost to grow it. And then we pay off other countries saying, I know you grow things better and more economically, but we will pay you this money to not sell it here.
Yeah. Hold on here. One thing. The article that you had linked on this one. His support of the sugar program undermines Rubio's free enterprise anti-corporate welfare position, especially because the primary beneficiaries of the program are the fan jewels who were early fundraisers and donors for Rubio in his 2010 Senate race. Again, follow the money. It tells you exactly where it is on this one. And again, the Kochs are coming out talking about this, and they prove themselves to be complete hypocrites by keep putting this guy on the stage and giving this guy a voice.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of times where politicians will put a stretch. I mean, it's a stretch to say if we do this, this is what's going to happen. But to say that if we end sugar subsidies, we will be, all of a sudden, prone to terrorism, that it's a national security issue if we get cheap sugar from Brazil, that's ridiculous.
This guy just stands on that national security grave. Boy, loves it. I mean, the great neocon hope, Marco Rubio. There you go, folks. Hey, good job picking him, by the way. I don't have a chip on my shoulder because of it, though.
It just seems like he kind of stands on this national security thing like Rick Scott stands on jobs. Like, it doesn't even make sense for the conversation. they asked Rick Scott this week, they asked him about the presidential candidates. I want a real plan for jobs. Well, so does that mean that you're going to like someone like Trump that's been in the private sector like you? I'm just looking at all of them for their plan on jobs. I mean, it's ridiculous. It doesn't even answer the question. But Marco Rubio does the same thing. He just, what do you think about sugar subsidies? Well, the terrorists are coming.
Well, he says it in a really nice... He actually trying to go with the NPR voice to make him sound... Honestly, he sounds kind of like a wussy, but change out the first word. He sounds really like that, though. He really sounds like a little kid, like a little child, little boy man, which I really... Again, this is... You know what? Honestly... Hey, let's go ahead. Let's get ready to take a break here. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a break. I'm going to probably need to calm down here a little bit because I'm already feeling like I'm feeling a rage coming on that we probably shouldn't go down because I'll probably say something that'll make Danielle angry, and I don't want to make Danielle any more angry than I already have today. So, let's go ahead and take a break here real quick. Let's find some happy news. Can we find some happy news after the break? Something that's a good story?
Jennifer Aniston got married.
Okay, let's talk about that. That's a good thing to talk about here. So we'll go to the Aniston when we get back. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or TackleMyTicket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit TackleMyTicket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at TackleMyTicket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Liberty Underground show. Screw Donald Trump, just to start with the opening.
Yeah, and I was saying it during the break, but I think because a lot of people are saying Bush looked a lot like his dad, and he's lost a little weight, which they do tell you as a candidate, kind of slimmed down a little. But I actually think it's not helping Jeb Bush because he is starting to look a lot more like his dad and his brother. But he was always a little heavier set, not fat, but heavier. A little chunky in the face and stuff, so that he didn't look like them. I think he's dropped a little weight, and now he's starting to look like his dad and his brother, which I think in the campaign will not help him.
Maybe it was because he was so close to Chris Christie that he looked thin.
Well, that is
Well,
true.
That's true. If you want to take some pounds off of your weight, then just stand next to Chris Christie because he definitely will do that. For
There
you.
are circus elephants that stand next to Chris Christie to look thinner.
It's like Rodney Dangerfield said, if you want to look thin, hang out with fat people.
Oh yeah. I gotta tell you, I couldn't stand near and being that close to Chris Christie.
I have to say, Chris Christie with his "I'm the only guy up here." You're the only guy up there that is eating a truckload of food. But other than that, you have done nothing.
I'm the only guy up here that can down an entire pizza in one sitting. Vote for me, Chris Christie.
What's the difference between a 9/11 and a cow? You can't milk a cow for 15 years.
Yeah. Because that's what they're doing, by the way.
No, that was
my
bad.
God.
Now, I will say, moving on to other news that we did miss last night because we did our debate coverage till quite late, is that Jon Stewart's last show was last night.
Yes, I'm hoping it got DVR'd.
I hope that it's somewhere on YouTube or something because I really, but I mean, we had to do the debate. I will say we have to do more of those debate shows because because of our format, we were the only ones that could continue to stream the debate.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. We
fun.
had a lot of fun last night, I think.
Yeah, I like to. We'll do more, and I'm going to just make fun of them the entire time.
I feel like we've kind of got this like post-debate hangover this morning, though.
Yeah.
That's really what it feels like. We had a lot of fun last night and really enjoyed what we were doing when we were covering the debate.
Right.
But this morning we're all kind of in this weird funk, and it's like post-debate hangover, I think.
It's like last night was the party, and then this night you wake up and realize the mess that was left in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we got to clean up after these jerks.
Yeah.
But no, so Jon Stewart, his last appearance on the Daily Show was last night. So there will be no more new Daily Shows with Jon Stewart. But I do have to say that the the next week tonight. What is the one?
The John Oliver.
Last week tonight.
Last week tonight, I think is gonna be my replacement show for that. I know that they do have someone coming on to replace Jon Stewart, and I forget his name, Noah something or whatever. While I find him funny as the person that used to come in to do the small little skits and stuff, I don't find him funny enough to carry the whole show. I have seen him do a couple shows. I didn't find him funny enough to carry a whole show. We'll see. I'll give him a chance. But I think it's going to be John Oliver's show that is going to be the one that would be the actual replacement for Jon Stewart's show.
I gotta tell you, I actually liked Stewart, and then when I found out the news that he just goes to the White House, he has had they're not really secret because they are listed in the logs, but the fact that he spent so many times going over to see Obama, in all honesty, just ruined it for me. It really did. I've zero respect for Jon Stewart any longer. I've none. I'm glad he's leaving the Daily Show. I'm glad he's not going to be on TV anymore with that big show. And I hope he fades away. And I'm pretty. Again, I'm already in an angry mood right now, so this probably doesn't help. But I got to tell you though, that I thought that Stewart was better than that, and just to realize that he was nothing but a mouthpiece for the White House. Kind of sad.
Oh, I don't think he was a mouthpiece for the White House. I think that he said some things that were definitely not something that they would want to have said. So I don't have the same issue with that. Listen, the guy was invited, he went. So, but I don't think it changed what he did. I mean, I think he went after them and called them out on stupid things all the time. Mm-hmm. So I don't have any problem with him going.
I just wish they would bring Craig Kilborn back to replace him.
Yeah.
I loved Craig Kilborn hosting the Daily Show. He was the original host. You're looking at me like, what?
Yeah, well, again, after I found out about that, I just, I don't really give a crap about Jon Stewart anymore. He really pissed me off. You know, I was hoping for better than that. And look, you know, I guess I shouldn't have, but, you know, just hoping for something better.
I can't be mad at him because it's what I would expect from him. You know,
Yeah.
he's a liberal. He's a Democrat. You know, I actually think that he criticized Democrats more than I would expect him to because of that. Because I don't know for sure what his party affiliation is, but he's definitely a liberal. And he's definitely on the left side of politics.
I think he's definitely a progressive. He may be like a registered independent or something like that, but he's definitely a progressive. I don't think he agrees with everything the Democrat Party does, and I think he does call them out on it, but he definitely leans to the left.
Yeah. Scumbag.
I want to like ban that word from the show, by the way.
Really? I love that
Yeah.
word. Well, it's better
I
than
know you do.
saying a curse word.
Well, doesn't make it
You
right.
got to leave me some word to be derogatory towards other people.
Well, maybe you shouldn't be derogatory towards other people.
Oh, wow. I don't know how we're going to do that. Don't even understand. What are you even saying? You know, what are you saying right there?
Well, I mean, the bright side is, compared to Donald Trump, Alex is like a thoughtful, rational human being.
Well, also, let's talk about this though. I forgot. Let's bring this up. Not that I ever give a good side thing. That they have put out in the state of Florida. They were sued. They lost the case for redistricting for congressional seats. So it looks to me that like they put a map out now, and
It's a base map, and it could change.
A base map, and it's going to change a little bit. It's not going. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot, though. I don't think they can.
Well, I think there's going to be a couple of changes. I mean, you have like Corinne Brown has already already filed a federal lawsuit because she doesn't like the way her district was drawn. So I think that you're going to see that this isn't done. It's not going to be the final version. I think you will see some changes because of some lawsuits that you're going to see come up. But I think there's going to be some. You know, it's going to try to be as much like that as they can possibly do while skirting around other lawsuits.
Let's just say this, by the way. Corinne Brown's lawsuit is trying to save gerrymandering.
Yes,
Yeah.
and for
There's
her.
no getting around that one. Corinne Brown's only mad right now because her district will actually be written correctly, and she's not happy about it.
Her district was gerrymandered to protect her because they looked at that seat as a loss. Like, let's just take the loss and protect another seat. And so, she is now not gerrymandered.
And runs the risk of losing her seat.
And may lose her seat, and now she's suing.
Yeah. Yeah, so she'll lose her seat.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I think she will lose her seat. And listen, the way that they have the South Pinellas seat, the one that, it's kind of mid to South Pinellas, that's David Jolly's current seat that he's vacating to run for U.S. Senate. I think that one is definitely going to Charlie Crist. When you look at the way that that's written in that base map, which I don't think that one's going to be able to change, because that was the big one that brought on this lawsuit, is because it jumped over the bridge. So I don't see of any other way they're going to be able to draw that one without getting another lawsuit. But that is Crist is going to run, and he's going to win that one. It is literally the heart of everybody who loves him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that Corinne Brown is suing is really telling. It's like the Democrats can't even get their own party straight here, because the Democrats were the ones that were challenging the way that the districts were actually cut up, and now that they're going to go, well, here's the base map for the new one. Now Corinne Brown, a Democrat, is going to challenge because somehow, I don't even understand what her justification is. So she's basically declaring that her congressional seat is going to be unconstitutional at that point. And her district, often criticized for its shape, is a minority access district, a district where minorities have a great chance of electing a representative of their choice, reads the lawsuit. So the fact, again, hold on, this woman lives in Jacksonville, and if you're unaware of the geography of Florida, let me explain it to you. Jacksonville is in the northeast corner of the state. The areas that she's talking about, or the areas that are mad, has 280,000 voters that live in Orange County. Orange County, in case you don't know how the map is not in the northeast corner. It is in central Florida. So basically, they take a line from Jacksonville, go 2 hours south, and then make another big bubble down there so she can include all the people down there. Honestly, Corinne Brown's just racist. I mean, I don't want to get around saying anything else. She's racist.
Well,
and her district looks like a salamander.
Yeah, the fact that she would even think that her district was going to stay the way it was is ridiculous. Because if you're in Orange County, you are nowhere near Jacksonville.
Yeah.
At all.
Nowhere near it.
So you should not be in the same district as anyone in Jacksonville. Now, don't get me wrong. Jacksonville has a huge minority community, so it's not even like she's like, oh, where, now it's all whiteys. I don't know what she's saying. Because Jacksonville has a huge minority population. It was absolutely ridiculous the way her district was drawn. There is if she even thought that was going to stay the same, it just shows her own stupidity.
Yeah. Well, no, and remember this, too, though, is that Corinne Brown is definitely a very stupid woman anyway, though.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be in Congress. Matter of fact, if I was black, I'd be embarrassed that she was my representative. I would hope for somebody better than that because she is just disgustingly horrible.
And the same with like a person like Hank Johnson or like Frederica Wilson. Like, they say the dumbest things that if I was African American, I would be like, oh, I can't believe they represent my, I can't believe that's what people have to represent me.
I'd be embarrassed. I would absolutely be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for them. But it's just, this is what Corinne Brown's going to do. She's going to sue. She's going to whine. And
she's going to lose.
And that's the thing. She's losing this one because in order for her to win, they got to overturn the other one.
Right, which they're not going to.
The other one was Democrats that put it through.
Yeah, no, she's going to lose. She's going to lose big. I would doubt that this even goes to a hearing. I think you're going to have a judge read legal briefs on it and rule without ever hearing any arguments on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And here's the thing: there's Republicans out there that are really mad because they're saying that this is going to there's going to be more Democrat districts now, that this is going to give Democrats some advantages in some of the districts, and it's going to shake up the way that the congressional delegation from Florida is going to look. And you know what? In all honesty,
well, they're right.
They're right.
Yeah.
But that's the way they should have been drawn to begin with, though. That's the problem.
The state, in and of itself, is very purple. The fact that we have more Republicans, way more Republicans than Democrats that are winning congressional seats is because of gerrymandering. Because that is not the true representation of the state. The state is very purple. It is almost split evenly down the line. So the fact that one side is winning so much more than the other just shows the protectionist that they've done, the protectionism that they've used to draw these lines. Because in a state that is almost nearly all the way split down the middle between the two parties, no one party should be this secure as having a majority in the state.
Part of me agrees with you on this one, but another part of me disagrees with you on this one. Let me explain why. When it comes to overall congressional representation, I would imagine if you were looking at it from a certain perspective, Democrats should have more seats than they have right now. But the way that the state is made up and where the power centers for like the Democrat voters are, I would still think that the Republicans would have more seats in both the state house, the state senate, and in Congress because they are so put together where some seats will have a lot bigger percentage of Democrats than Republicans, but there are some areas and a lot of areas that are very red. That you have to take those into account too.
Yeah, but if it goes by population, which it does, this goes by population. So in the places that are highly the high concentration of Democrats, they would have more congressional districts because it goes by population. There are some places that are very red. There are some places that are very blue. But the state in and of itself, because you're going by population and the population is split right down the middle, that you should see and I'm not going to say it should not be a majority Republican, but it shouldn't be the large majority that they have.
No. I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you there. However, it is something to where they should have, the Democrats, by looking at this, would have more. And look, it's one of those like unwritten rules that these two have with each other. Because I really don't think the Democrats are that upset with the way that the districts are. They're mad that they don't get themselves gerrymandered more districts, I guess. But they they're not that mad about it. And if they were in charge, they'd gerrymander them too. Like again, hypocrites, Because here's the thing: Corinne Brown is she's such a hypocrite here. She's willing to sue to maintain the hypocrisy.
She's willing to sue to throw out the lawsuit of that her party sued to begin with to stop the gerrymandering so that she can continue the gerrymandering for just her district. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's bad when Republicans do it, but it's good when Democrats do it.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah. So, no, it's just absolutely insane. And listen, she's going to be, her district has to be redrawn because her district made no sense at all. And hers was one of the 8 where the Supreme Court was like, oh, are you freaking kidding me? This is ridiculous. So, her seat, the David Jolly seat, you knew that they were going to be redrawn because they didn't make any sense. And it was so obvious that it was gerrymandered. So, you're going to see those change, and she's just going to have to get over it. Her lawsuit is going nowhere.
Yeah, she's going to get over it because she's going to lose.
Well, yeah, she is going to lose.
And that's fine. Good. I'm glad. I hope she loses. Again, I want anybody that's in office right now. Well, I want most of them gone anyway, but I especially want the idiots gone, and she's definitely an idiot. This has nothing to do with her skin color, by the way. It has to do with her brain. It's not that good.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to have, and you basically have the Charlie Crist district that just ended up in St. Pete because there is no way he loses that district.
No, he's not going to lose.
He's going to die in office now.
He's going to be in Congress for a long, long time.
Yeah. And you want to talk about a weird color skin? It's Charlie Crist.
But, that's like an orange hue of.
It's like sunset.
It's like sunset. Nice. It's like sunset. Aw, like a sunset.
And I still don't judge him on the color of his weirdly colored skin.
Yeah.
I don't.
It is all about his intellect that he is lacking.
Oh, hold on. By the way, hold on. I hate to go back to this, but I just saw this, though. So the Palm Beach Post had a poll as well of who you thought won the debate. And I'm just curious if you guys want to give a. Well, you were already looking at it, so you can't.
Yeah,
you can't do
it. Donald Trump.
52% of the vote.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have here the total speaking time that the candidates got. Did you see that, Alex?
I did see this, but go ahead anyway. Though.
I mean, Donald Trump got more than twice the time of most candidates.
He was the highest poller going in. And Jeb Bush, I think, was second.
Mm-hmm. Trump had 11 minutes, 14 seconds. Bush had 8 minutes, 48 seconds. Kasich, 6 minutes, 52. Rubio, 6:49. Carson, 6:46. Cruz, 6:46. Huckabee, 6:42. Christie, 6:24. Walker, 5:45. And Paul, 5:28.
God, you thought Paul had more time than that.
I guess he did better with the time he got than we thought.
Well, and you don't
That's
know.
a good point, by the way.
You don't know if they were counting the times where they were going back and forth with each other that wasn't an actual question. Because Paul actually didn't get asked a lot of direct questions where he was answering. What he did do was jump in to start arguments. Yeah. And you don't know where that time started when he would just jump in.
Right.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know how they're calculating.
Because he had a back and forth with Donald Trump, he had a back and forth with Chris Christie, and is somebody sitting there, clocking
with all the time?
Oh, okay. Christie spoke for 2 seconds, and Paul spoke for 3, and Christie another 3, and Paul for 5, and I don't know exactly if that's figured in, but yeah, Donald Trump with the most, and Paul with the least.
But you would listen when they're running these debates by polling numbers. Jeb Bush and Donald Trump had the largest polling numbers. So when you're asking questions of what you're looking at in statistics, that those are who the people want to hear from.
Yeah. And
Obviously.
the bottom four should just be thankful they got on that stage and weren't on the JV stage.
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually surprised that Kasich had so much because he was really on the bubble of not being on the stage at all.
I think it's only because they were in Ohio.
Because they were in Ohio.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Do they ever have that debate in Ohio? We'll never know.
Because it's the state that's produced the most presidents, probably?
I don't know. I don't care. I hate everything.
I'm in a very, very hateful mood today.
I am. You know what? Well, I'm not going to get into that again. All right. What else? Let's take a break here real quick. When we get back. Let's get into some other, some Florida news here. What's going on here in the Sunshine State? It's a beautiful thing. Unless Danielle doesn't want to, because I just saw an evil eye from Danielle.
No, what news do we have from Florida?
The rain stopped. That's good.
Beautiful. Well, there is a new, somebody's arguing that the Sunshine Law is unconstitutional. Let's talk about that when we get back.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
For many years, libertarian candidates have been up against the political machines of the Democrat and Republican duopoly. Libertarians in Florida needed a machine of their own, and now they have it. The Florida Libertarian PAC was created to support principled, professional candidates here in the state of Florida for local and statewide offices. We are committed to seeing a libertarian victory in the state of Florida. We need you to make that a reality. Visit FloridaLibertarianPAC.com to get information on how you can see a libertarian victory in Florida. Political advertisement paid for by the Florida Libertarian PAC, not in conjunction with any candidates or candidates committee.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or TackleMyTicket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit TackleMyTicket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at TackleMyTicket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back, Liberty Underground 1787 Radio Network. Hopefully everybody's having a good day here. Hopefully everybody is recovering from their they watched the debate last night. And hopefully you're not thinking that the country is all over like we are today. Maybe you have some more hope than we do, so we'll see. There is a lawsuit that argues that the Sunshine Law is unconstitutional, though, that's getting ready to go to court. So it was filed against City Commissioner Susan Chapman. It's going to trial later on this month, though, and that her attorney, they're revisiting an old argument that the Sunshine Law is unconstitutional as it applies in her case, infringing on her First Amendment rights. And basically what she's saying is, I guess, can you explain the Sunshine Law, Danielle, a little bit here? I know you know.
Yeah, I know it. It doesn't really affect a lot. As far as state government goes, the only thing that affects is that any of their emails and things that go back and forth have to be available for public records, but they are allowed to talk about things behind closed doors. Like, they really don't have a lot of except for having their emails and correspondence be available to a public records request, that it doesn't really affect state government. But on a county level and municipality level, you have a law that says that county commissioners are not allowed to speak to each other about an issue at all unless they're at a county commission meeting. The same for city councils. There's no way that they can go to a site to kind of see, kind of survey the damage and say, hey, what do you guys think we should do here? Or, as soon as they actually say a word to each other, they have violated the Sunshine State laws, which also means that if they're talking to the media about an issue, that because the other county commissioners or city council members would be able to read that article, they cannot say how they feel on an issue or give any inkling of how they would vote or any opinion whatsoever on any issue, because other county commissioners or city council members would be able to see that.
Now, and Danielle, I know that you are a fan of transparency, but this law that you're talking about here, though, you do find there to be a little bit of a problem with it, don't you?
I do, because I feel like what happens is, I get that the meetings are public, and that's a good thing. But when you look at, you're not even allowed to answer a question in an interview, it ends up making a city council person or a county commissioner look like they're hiding something when they're actually just complying with the law. So I think it does an injustice. You're asking a county commissioner, hey, there's all this talk about an increase of the gas tax. Is that going to go somewhere? How do you feel about this? And this is someone who we've elected that is basically going to say no comment. And it makes it look like there's something going on when there's not. I think it's very unfair. I think that there are situations where they do have to go and see, the city of Newport Richey's underwater right now. County commissioners can't go to the same location and say, hey, this is a problem. That's ridiculous. There is some things that they are going to have to be able to talk about and be able to talk to the public about.
And they undermine the spirit of that law all the time anyway, just by going and playing golf together. Because they're not supposed to, be colluding with each other essentially, and they just get by with it. Oh, we're just playing golf.
Yeah.
But then they're out on the ninth hole colluding with each other when they're not supposed to.
Yeah, and if anyone were to hear them, they would all be in trouble.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: while I understand why the law went down the way that it did for the Sunshine, that this is one of those things where you tried to make a law to solve a problem, and you can't really solve the problem. You have to just start electing good people.
Right.
Does that make sense, right?
It is what's happened because, and then you have some people that are in there that would love to tell the public everything that's going on. They would, like they see, maybe they're upset with the city manager or the administrator, and they would like for the public to know what's going on, and they can't say it. And then if they do say it in a meeting, then they get excoriated in the media for acting unprofessionally. So I think it hinders good people, and I think it protects bad people.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but at the same time, these guys did it to themselves. Actually, the politicians did it to themselves on this one, and
if they hadn't been so untrustworthy so many times for so many years, then we wouldn't have this law.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's a good point, by the way. Bingo.
Yeah, so I don't agree with the law. I actually don't. I agree with some of the spirit of the law. I don't agree with how it's written. I think it is way too restrictive, and it actually hinders our county commissioners and our city council members from actually doing business. And I think it actually hinders them from being transparent with the public, because I think there's a lot of things that you see some of our county commissioners and city council members that they would love to be able to talk to the public about it, because they really see big issues going on within the county and city governments that they literally cannot talk to, because they cannot talk to the public about because of this law. So I actually think it does more to damage transparency than it does to help it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right about that. It's again, I think, Danielle, when you give the classes, you say this a lot of time. People will go together and say, well, we need to make a law, and then they make a law, and they go, well, we need to make another law, and we need to make another law, because that law, they didn't take into consideration the unintended consequences. This is another one of those things.
It is. It's, we end up with this snowball effect where, they have a bad law that they try to fix with another bad law, and you just... And the fact is that everyone in the state knew it was going to be a hindrance, and that's why they exempted themselves from it.
Yeah.
Because the state government does not work that way. They are not under the same standards. They can talk to each other, and they can talk to the public. A state house news conference every day after session and say, I don't like what happened here. This was wrong. This is why it was wrong. This is what's going on up here. But a city council member or a county commission member can't.
Yeah, and you're right, and I think that's bad. I think it's bad that it goes down that way, though. Oh, by the way, I didn't know if you guys do this or not. We're in the middle of the sales tax holiday for school.
Today is the first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go out there, buy yourself some clothes. If you run a business and you need office supplies, this is the week to do it. Obviously this is meant for kids returning to school, but I think everyone, if you need new clothes, take advantage of it. If your office needs office supplies, take advantage of it. This is the time to do it. They don't give you much, so, stock up.
There's not many times when the government doesn't take your money away from you at the barrel of the gun, so take advantage while you can.
Yeah, while the gun's in the holster for a second.
Yeah.
One other thing we're still dealing with this, the Cuba thing is still pretty big going on right now here, too, about us, having relations with Cuba now. And you are seeing a lot of the state representatives really taking a very strong stance against this. Against, normalizing relations with Cuba. What I never understood about this, about normalizing the relations with Cuba, why these people have such a hard time, I don't understand their own hypocrisy when it comes to our dealings with other countries that are just as bad, if not worse, when it comes to their human rights record and that kind of thing. We shouldn't be dealing with China if the Cuba standard is going to continue. Right? I mean, they're still getting around that, but they're all kinds of mad about that, which is I wish these people understood how you actually would change the hearts and minds of other countries to get them to replace their dictators. Then again, I can understand why they wouldn't, because we have our own dictators here. We just happen to do it in a different way than they do it. They're a little more sly about it than, at least the dictators in other countries are more open in their dictatorial rule. We hide it a lot better. You make you feel like you actually have a choice. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
No, I do. I'm actually, because you said we were going to go to Florida news, and so I clicked on the local news, and I see it. I actually, two of my friends from high school got married, and he was a football star in our high school, and he got married to a friend of mine. Both of them were my friends, and their son now is coming up on his senior year, and is one of the football stars in my old high school and stuff. So I'm actually reading about it. So I was like, oh, local news. Oh, I know that name. And so I got a little sidetracked. I'm very sorry. But, kudos to
there's local news, and then there's that.
There's that. This is my high school with my friends that were in my high school that got married, and it's their child. So, you know, I was very proud to cheer on Glass Wilson when I was in high school, and I'm so excited to see him and Nicole's son, Glass Wilson, I think the fourth, do so well for Ridgewood High School. And basically he has offers from like every college all over the place because he's doing such a phenomenal job. So good on them. And I've actually seen him. He's a very, very nice, respectful kid as well. So he's a good kid, great grades, and a great football player. And he's getting he's in the paper for it. So I'm very proud of that.
I think when Alex said, let's go to local Florida news when we come back, you might have drilled down a little bit
I
further
went a little
than
too far
necessary.
because my high school is only like a couple miles away.
It's not really the kind of spirit I was talking about.
Well,
there,
you know what happens is you see like Glass Wilson and how many people are going to be named Glass Wilson, so you kind of like, that's definitely got to be the one I know.
You know what? Well, let's go with some other more good news that's going on here, which I always like to. Let's have some good news here. If you live in Hollandale Beach and you smoke pot, it looks like you're only going to get a ticket there too.
Yeah, a lot of municipalities are starting to. And if their county isn't going to move towards just a cannabis being a ticketed offense, they're going to do it at the city level. So, you know, I love the movement that's going on in Florida where it's like, well, if they're not going to make it, like if the legislature isn't going to listen to us and just make it legal, then we'll just pressure all our county commissioners and city councils to make it like $100 ticket and, you know, just get around them.
Yeah, it looks like that's the way it's going too. Boy, I wish we were trying this maneuver a couple years ago.
I know, right?
Boy, what a good idea this ended up being. You know, and I'm glad to see that that's what's going on. But you know, at the same time, it's like, man, boy, we should have thought about that earlier.
And I don't know if it would have had the traction earlier. I think that we had to have the failure initiative and the public opinion sway pretty strongly on this to get here. I don't think if we had tried this 3 years ago that we would have had the success that it's having now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think you have to be right. I think you're right with that. I think that there is such a public outcry that, you know, and we talk to people all over the state and things, and even some of the most staunchest Republicans that are very conservative will say to you, you know, I don't believe that anyone should be in jail over it. I may not go as far as saying that it should all be legal, but I think, you know, throwing someone in jail for, you know, marijuana possession is it's a little more than I like. So even some of the, you know, big conservatives will say that, you know, throwing someone in jail for it, they're not comfortable with. So I think you have that public opinion. Just you have places like Colorado, Washington State, even and more states are going with this, that they're just legalizing it and the sky isn't falling. Their actually crime rate is down. That and tax revenue is up, where counties and cities are like, well, wait a minute, you know? Hold on, we can get some of this here. So
yeah. So, well, hey, one thing though, I just was looking on. It had this article. You know that during the debate there was one thing that they talked about on how you know, with Trump giving a lot of money to a lot of politicians and doing what he said, and Rubio did say, you know, no, you didn't give any money to me. You actually supported Charlie Crist. They did a fact check on that one to find out that actually that's mostly true. He did totally give Crist the money.
To Charlie Crist.
Which, you know, see, that's the one thing. I hate we get back to this, but I want to get back to this. We're going to have to. Like, Trump gave a lot of money to Democrats.
Right.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
How is he getting a pass in the Republican primary on this?
Well, he also gave a lot of money to Republicans. They're just not bringing that up because at the time, and when Marco Rubio says you donated to Charlie Crist wasn't a Democrat. He was a Republican at the time.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
And Donald Trump was probably a Democrat when he was donating to the Republican Charlie Crist.
Donald Trump was probably a Democrat at the time. So, you know, listen, when he says that he's given a lot of money to both parties, he has. Now, the only ones that the Republicans and Fox News are talking about are the ones that he gave to Clinton and Democrats. But when you look through who all Donald Trump has given money to, I mean, he's given money to everyone that he thought he could win over. And let me tell you what, you want to hedge your bets? Give money to Charlie Crist because you push him enough and he'll do whatever you want. That's just, he's weak like that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's actually really true, by the way. That is kind of funny, actually. I think that the overall message this week, though, the overall message that we have this week is, seriously, find new people to support. And not only just find new people to support, but realize that there is not one candidate running in either the Republican or the Democrat parties for president that really is worth your support. And again, it's going to go down to Bush v. Clinton. It really is at the end of the day that all this other stuff is all just a show. It's going to Bush v. Clinton. Get local, for Pete's sake. That's probably the thing we should. Is that, you know, we talk about going local, but then this week we kind of did the debate because it was a big news and we figured we would cover it. But in doing this debate, I'm only more solidified in that, boy, it is just a lost cause up there.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I think that it was just such a joke. I mean, it was just so ridiculous. I think anyone that even I would expect what we saw last night to be like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that was truly the presidential debate is just sad. I mean, it's such a joke. I mean, and like how anyone took that seriously and, and actually came out with any respect for any of those candidates, by the way. None of them said anything smart. I mean, I feel bad. I actually think Ben Carson did the least amount of gaffes, but he just didn't even sound like he knew why he was there. It was like, oh, you mean you turned my mic on? It just seemed like he didn't know why he was there. Like the first question that they posed at him was, listen, you seem to have a lack of knowledge on basic civics. And he just proved that kind of throughout the thing. Well, I don't know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
When you start a debate answering a question going, I don't know a lot of stuff, that's, I mean, it was, then you had, someone else, I don't even remember who it was, that was basically like, hi, Mom.
Yeah.
That was funny, too.
I mean, it was really sad. I wish that I could say that I thought anyone did good. I don't. I think everybody had such a poor... I think overall, the whole event was such a poor performance. I mean, I think it's a joke. It was just a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys know that that for the first time in a long time, that they are now selling bear permits to kill bears in Florida?
Yes. Because of overpopulation of bears.
Mm-hmm. Just to let you know, one of the people that actually have...
I've seen this.
You saw this?
Yeah.
That purchased a permit for the bear hunt, Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
Remember Ted Nugent, by the way. Let's make sure we give a full accounting of Ted Nugent here.
Yeah, because Donald Trump isn't adding enough stupid crazy to the show.
Let's go with Ted Nugent. When this guy was about to get drafted, he spent 3 days and crapped his pants in order to get out of going to war. Like, there's chicken hawks, and then there's Ted Nugent.
And then there's grabbing your pants so that they won't take you.
And then there's pooping yourself for multiple days so they won't take you. And that's Ted Nugent, by the way, just for the record. So it's funny that he goes out and gets a bear hunting permit that he wants to go and hunt, because the last time, because the one time that he was actually going to go to defend the country instead of just crapped his pants. Wonder if he actually still has a little sharding when he actually goes out to hunt a bear. Maybe he does. I don't like.
No, I think it only happens when he drives past a recruiter's office.
Ah! Oh, that one was good, actually. I like that one. That was really good, by the way. Thank you.
I'm glad I could bring a smile to your face.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like you could find anything to smile about.
You know what? I did find a little bit to smile about on that one, though. That one helped right there. Helped tremendously. I really appreciate that, actually.
My pleasure.
Because I'm looking for Florida stories, and I didn't realize how much Carl Dickey writes about different things around the state.
Oh yeah, he's a rather prolific writer.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm looking it up, and all of a sudden it's like, he's writing about Jeff Brandes, Senator Brandes, and he's talking about Trump focus groups, and I'm like, Like, so I keep clicking on these, like, oh, that's interesting, and it's Carl Dickey. Like, I feel like I could make, like, a whole show out of the articles Carl Dickey has written in the last month.
Carl does a great job. I got to give him a lot of credit, man. He actually is a very good writer. What I'm surprised of is that he is not picked up by somebody major.
I am actually surprised at that.
Because he's a good writer. He writes about a lot of stuff, and I'm, like, honestly, Sunshine State News should probably pick him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good place for him to go. I would think that would be a very good place for him to go. Would be to like Sunshine State News or something like that. I would not want him to go to the Tampa Bay Times because I have way more respect for him than that.
Yeah.
Way more respect.
And I want other people to respect him, which is not going to happen with him writing for Tampa Bay Times.
Yeah, exactly. So, and oh, by the way, the U.S. economy did add 215,000 jobs in July. Unemployment rate is holding at 5.3%. However, to make sure we give the complete accurate story of how those numbers work out, though, we are still looking at, big number, by the way. Like, and I'm trying to get to it because I saw it earlier. 93,770,000 Americans not in the labor force.
So
almost a third.
Who created those jobs? Was it Obama or Rick Scott?
I think it was Obama Scott. I don't know if you know who Obama Scott is, but that is the maturation of Rick Scott.
Is it like an amalgamation of Rick Scott's bald spot and Obama's ears?
Yeah.
It was
very good call.
It was just so funny. Alex is flipping through the channels this week, and he ends up on Fox News, and we see Rick Scott. And the first thing Alex says is, "You think he's going to talk about jobs?" And I'm like, I don't think he knows how to say anything else. And they asked him about, Florida is going to play a key part in the presidential election. Do you have any favorites? And I'm like, oh, maybe they're not going to give him an opening to talk about jobs. And he literally says, I've met with all the candidates. I've talked to them. But what I'm going to really look for is a strong plan on jobs. And we just start laughing. He said the word jobs probably 14 times in those few minutes that he was on Fox News. And every time he would talk about what this real plan for jobs, they would ask him, well, does that mean you like someone like Trump? Or do you Jeb Bush said, he created a lot of jobs here in Florida. Do you like Jeb? And they were very specific questions. And he was like, all the candidates are good candidates. They're all candidates. And I want to see their plan for jobs.
Yeah, he said economy a lot there too.
And the economy.
The plan, economy, and jobs were the three. Like if you took those three words out, it was he wouldn't have said anything. He just would have stared at you with that he has. Because he does have a stupid stare.
Oh, he does.
It is a really dumb stare.
It's just like, glassed over, I must say. Like, he almost looks hypnotized.
He's a jobnatist.
Yeah, he's a jobnatist.
Jobnatist. I love it.
But it was just so funny to see him not even having to talk about his term as governor, not even talking about Florida and our economy, but literally being asked, are you leaning towards anyone in the presidential race? And it's, jobs. It was just so funny.
This is actually kind of a funny story, too. Well, not funny. Well, kind of funny. There's a Tennessee couple that were lesbians. And in 2010, their house was caught on fire. And in with catching it on fire, the word queer was written on the front of the building. So it looked like it was a hate crime, basically, right? Come to find out that now there was actually the jury ruled on this one. Because people were saying it was fake. It wasn't real. That it actually didn't happen the way that they say that it happened. Like, it wasn't a hate crime. It was they burned their own house down. And so now the jury finds that that they totally did it. So the lesbian couple, they faked a hate crime and left their home a pile of charred rubble in Tennessee.
For the insurance
money. For the insurance money. So they did it in order to get the insurance money and then claimed a hate crime because of that. Wow, by the way.
That is disturbing, actually.
There is... Look, first off, every crime is a hate crime. There's not some that are hate crimes and some that aren't hate crimes. If you're infringing on the rights of someone else, and there's got to be a little bit of hate that's involved with there. However, for these people to fake a hate crime or to fake a crime and then to try to say, well, it was anti-gay people that burned my house down has got to be one of the most disgusting things that there is.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's really bad. I mean, I think anytime you burn your house down for the insurance money is probably a bad thing. And I'm sure that they probably did it because they thought it would be more believable if it was, because it's obviously going to look like arson, but at least if they put that on there, it'll be believable that it wasn't them. But I mean, it's just sad. It's sad that people would think that they should do that.
It just shows how adding more laws and more government only creates more systems for people to manipulate for their own gain without actually solving the problem you're trying to address with putting these laws in place. People manipulate systems. That's what we do. We find the loopholes. We find the ways to use the system to our benefit. It's why you have a lesbian couple faking a hate crime for insurance money. Everything. Donald Trump last night actually pointed it out quite plainly. I was just using the system to my favor, just like everybody else does.
Yeah, skipping out on all my bills to millions of dollars.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You create those systems, people are going to manipulate them and take advantage of them. And more often than not, it's in the wrong way, intended way. So, the answer's freedom.
And I think that in the debate last night when Donald said that, I think that's when someone like Rand Paul could have stepped in and said, but we're talking about you defaulting and not paying your bills to the tunes of millions of dollars, and you're not answering for that.
Well, yeah. Well, no, you're right. Hold on, but let me get back to the story, though, because there's another part to this that I didn't get to, though. They actually had a person that they actually blamed as well.
Oh, that's really
bad.
So
the target of their stunt was Janice Millsaps. It was a neighbor who they accused in news reports of threatening to kill them and burn their house down. So she says that they said, do you know what's better than one dead queer? Two dead queers. It's what they were accusing Millsap of saying 1 month before the blaze that destroyed the home. And the word queers was scrawled across the garage during the fire. So Millsap never was charged in connection with the ensuing accusation, even as the FBI and the investigators came into the probe. So they went after they did investigate this woman, though. So the alleged hate crime, and it also garnered sympathy from the residents, and they were being nice to her. But I imagine that the woman that they accused of doing this,
right, was probably getting a little
got a lot of threats and things like that. So it's amazing that these people were willing to do this. Like, this is really just evil. And it doesn't have anything to do with their sexual orientation. They're just evil people. It doesn't matter what your skin color or your sexual orientation is. Evil is just evil. These people fit that. It's just amazing that this is what happens, though. I mean, that's sad. What a bunch of jerks. Seriously. How are these people not now going to go to jail?
Well, they probably will.
I hope so. Yeah. I really hope so.
And what they've done is actually a felony. They're going to be charged with arson. They're going to be charged with fraud. They're going to be charged with a lot of different things. So no, I can almost guarantee you that both of those women are going to jail.
I hope so. I really do hope so. This is the kind of people that I want to that's infringing on the rights of another. Right?
Yeah.
That's committing fraud. That's possibly causing severe harm to another person, utilizing other people.
Yeah. Now, in Mississippi, and we've talked a lot about the Republicans and that, we had the debate going on, and we talked about what a joke it was and how people are, going and following these just ridiculous people like Donald Trump. In Mississippi, the Democrat Party received a little shock when votes were counted. They favored a candidate who was basically there was a primary, but the primary was just kind of ceremonial. There was this truck driver that put their name in the hat but never spent a single cent on the campaign, didn't do any interviews, zero advertising, basically was a name on a piece of paper. Actually has now said in an interview that he was too busy to even go vote for himself.
Nice.
And he won the gubernatorial primary for the Democrat Party with more than 50% of the vote. He actually got a call from his mother on Election Day who was excited that she voted for a candidate with the same name as him because he hadn't even told his mother that he put his name on the ballot.
What? Wow, dude, you want to talk about running a paper campaign.
Well, to be fair, Democrats have less of a shot in Mississippi than they do in Florida, so.
He actually, when they asked him, he said he lost track of time and didn't vote for himself. And he didn't campaign because he's not really a people person. And he doesn't like invading people's privacy.
Are you sure he's not a libertarian?
So he said he basically put his name in for governor because he said that he's, the current governor just failed to meet his obligations and so put his name in the race and now is going to be running for governor against the Republican incumbent Phil Bryant. This woman who was basically really backed by her party, really ran a campaign. She's in shock because this guy who didn't even tell his own mother he was running won with more than 50% of the vote.
And now look at him. He's going to be able to get more votes because he's going to vote for himself and his mother. That's 2 more votes.
That's 2 more. Well, his mom did vote for him because she was like, I voted for someone with the same name as you. Isn't that cool? And he's like, yeah, that was me.
Oh, man. That's funny, though. Come on now.
But that's the state that we're in now. I mean, not that. That's actually Mississippi, so it's not actually our
not
state.
that far from the state.
But
that's not the state we're in right now.
But that's the state of the country right now. That's where people are right now, where they're like, oh, I know this woman, so I'm gonna vote for this guy who I have no idea. He didn't campaign because he's not a people person.
Unbelievable.
Which makes him infinitely qualified for office.
It's like, I hate all people indiscriminately, so I just decided not to campaign. I mean, this is hysterical, but this is now he's running for governor now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean,
yeah. The thing is I kind of hope he wins.
Yeah.
Do you want to see the guy win?
Yeah, I do.
Only because if he's that absentee-minded when he's running for the office, I'm sure he'll be that absentee-minded once he gets in, and that'll save the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi.
I bet you he shows up to the governor's mansion and just vetoes everything. Because why not?
Yeah.
Because broccoli.
Yeah, it's like, nah, I really don't. Whatever. No veto. I just don't like you people. I'm not really a people person.
Yeah. That's a no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. I don't like you that much.
I wonder if that'll work to your advantage where if you want to meet with him all the time, he'll just be like, just tell me what you want and I'll do it.
Maybe.
Maybe he'll bow to pressure that quickly.
Maybe. Or maybe he'll be like, no, I'm not meeting with anyone. I don't care what you want.
Governor, our people are suffering. Good.
Let them suffer. I don't care.
So funny.
That is actually very funny, by the way. Dude put his name. Look, we said it, and we said it last year. Look, I know Danielle doesn't like paper candidates.
I don't.
And I know you don't. But even you have to see that if we'd have had a full slate of people running for state house, we'd have one person in Tallahassee right now.
I understand that, and I understand that. But who would that person be? Would they be a good representative of our party once
Probably
they
not.
got there? And that's what
It wouldn't be Donald Trump, though.
Oh.
At this point, does it really matter?
Yeah, but maybe they would like eugenics.
Oh, that's a good point, by the way. Oof.
So
okay,
there you go.
Damn, whew. You got me on that one. Damn, you
sick burn.
Yeah, that is a burn. I feel bad. Oh, can we get some aloe for that, please? Can I get some aloe over here for that? All right. All right. Well, look, good show this week, guys. Good show. Bernie Sanders, by the way, still a racist. National socialist, I should say. Kind of in the mindset of Hitler. But other than that, good show this week. We'll be on next week. We'll be on next Friday.
And if you haven't seen the debate and would like to see it with some better entertainment value than the sad state that it was last night, go to our YouTube channel, The 1787 Network, and you will see our debate extravaganza. It was Alex's birthday. We had a good time. There's a couple hours before there where we talked about the JV debate and kind of gave our predictions for the big debate. We watched the big debate. It actually does play, but you will get our commentary with it. So if you really want to be entertained and don't want to cry while replaying the debate, get it from the 1787 Network on YouTube.
Well, you can also go, Danielle, to 1787network.com.
All right.
It is posted there in the highlighted articles. It's underneath, and let's make sure I say it correctly, the Liberty Ground Special, Alex's 40th birthday and GOP clown car debate extravaganza. And even though the clown car was a prognostication, it proved to be very true.
Yeah, they delivered.
Yeah, they totally.
Oh, they sure enough did.
Man, Barnum and Bailey got nothing on these guys.
Yeah, you ain't lying, brother. You ain't lying. I mean, they got nothing on these guys when it comes to the debate, boy. They really did go ahead and embarrass themselves very good. Still looking for that music, though.
He will not stop talking until you start playing music. So just
well, it was 10:58 when he started. When I was like, we still got 2 minutes.
Yeah,
the song's only a minute long.
Yeah, let's get in there. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
Don't be mistaken.